Hello and welcome to another Carrot Scrap stream. And by another, I mean... Oh, wait, another... Hello... Give me 1 second. Hello and welcome to another Carrot Scraps... Oh, wait, whoops. I'm all over the place. Hello and welcome to another Carrot Scraps YouTube stream. And by another, I mean the 4th here on YouTube. And it's also a stream, because this is a pre-recorded, video that we're passing off as a stream while I'm away, taking a vacation for the week. And I have my Diet Coke, and I am ready for everything and everyone. We said we were going to play as Kate yesterday, and so here we are, getting ready to play as Kate. What could we do? So this iconic mission. It should be July 28th, I believe, right? It should be Wednesday, July 28th. Happy Wednesday, my dudes. And I don't know why. You know, I when I come to do these kinds of streams, these YouTube streams, these pre-recorded streams, I try to come up with a topic. Like, that's always kind of the thing, is like on Twitch I kind of roll with the punches. You know, I talk about whatever's going on in chat. I have things that I want to talk about, but here it's like when I do a stream here, I want to have like a contained topic. I'm ready to launch. And so today we are going to talk about Lego. Basically because I've been seeing a lot of people talk about Lego, and I've noticed a lot of people like in the, modern comic book community, superhero fan community, a lot of them really love the Lego Marvel superhero games and the Lego DC superhero games. And I've even seen certain people say that like those games got them into certain superheroes, or they wouldn't know about certain superheroes if it wasn't for certain what is happening right now? If it wasn't for certain games, certain Lego games. So I wanted to come on here and talk about my feelings on that idea, I guess, and my relationship to those games, and I guess just Lego games in general, and Lego in general. So that's what we're going to do. But first, we're going to try and start a mission. Not sure what that was. Maybe we should do a villain sector. Oh, wait, did we do our... let's get our dailies. Daily villain sector and such. So, first things first, I guess I don't know exactly... whether it was the video game or the Legos themselves that I started with. It's possible that it was the Legos themselves, or the Lego themselves, the toy. Growing up, I had these 3 like bins full, like they were Duplo bins, which is of course the larger, like safer version of Lego. If you thought Lego was safe, boy, you should see Duplo, way safer. And I stored a bunch of Legos in them. I don't know where they came from. I don't know how I got them. Should we just wait for a team, maybe? No, let's launch without them. There we go. Not sure what that was, but we're launching without them. We're just gonna be Kate. And I had these 3 like bins, and they were just mixed. Like, I don't remember getting a set. I got to imagine that like someone in my family just was given them by like a friend. Like they just found them and then just dumped them off on my lap and were like, here you go, kid. And I had a lot of fun building that stuff. For a while, like I built a lot of my favorite thing to do is to build like apartment buildings. I thought that was really cool, and like to make them as like detailed inside as I could. And I have some pretty vivid memories about that. I also have some vivid memories. So I never got like Lego sets when I was a kid, but I did get a actually this might not have been mine, it might have been my dad's, but we did get a new Mega Bloks set, and it was like a ripoff like Death Star, where it was like a spaceship that was an orb. And I remember thinking it was weird because like the pieces were all strange, like I don't know, but very iconic. Part of my childhood is remembering that Mega Bloks set. But so yeah, those Lego were like a part of my, and for those of you who are wondering, it took me a while to figure this out. It took until I watched Lego Masters. Well, no, actually, I think I knew that before that. But the plural for Lego is Lego, not Legos, which is interesting. So I try as hard as I can to respect the Lego in their plurality. Love this sprint attack that Kate has. Rah! There you go. But then, so I used to go to my my nana's house a lot, my you know, my grandmother's house a lot, and she had like a PC room where like she had a you know, she had a PC at the time. We had a PC in my house. I don't think we had it at that time though. It came like later. We weren't like the richest family. But my nana had a PC, and so whenever I went over, you know, she would show it to me, and I don't know whether she played these games on her own or whether she specifically bought them for me to play. I think it was that she bought them for me to play. Because that was when I played Sonic the Hedgehog for the first time. Was on PC. It was Sonic 3D Blast. That was where I played like I Spy, and that was where I played one of the most influential like video games in my entire life, one of like the biggest pieces of media in my whole life, which was Lego Island. And if you you know, for those of you who are new to this channel, this is not my main YouTube channel. I have another channel where I do more scripted and edited content. This is raw carrot scraps where we're unedited. But on the main channel, I have a video about Lego Island, and I kind of go into, you know, my childhood experiences with it. And that game is super, super influential for me. And that was kind of, you know, maybe I did play with Lego before, you know, that. But to me, that's where I really learned about Lego. That's where I learned about Lego as a brand. And that's where I, like, after that point, whenever I'd think of Lego, I would think of Lego Island, the PC game. And this is my, you know, yearly public service announcement where I'm like, please, if somebody from Lego is watching, unlikely, please port that to the PC. Please give us an HD remake. Not even HD remake, just re-release it, because it's so hard to play it on modern day equipment. It's very hot in this room. Even though I have my AC going, it's so hot. And so that game was super influential to me. And I still, like, you know, it was important to me to make that video, to kind of, you know, talk about a game that I really adore. And I never forget it. I love the music. I use the music in a lot of my YouTube stuff. Really, really fantastic game. And so, debatably, you know, some of my first experiences with Lego was through video games, right? And that is debatably the first Lego game. I believe the only other exception, I think there's a Commodore 64 game, I believe, which came before it. But I think debatably, Lego Island is the first Lego game, so what a wonderful game that was. And if you're watching this live, I appreciate you. I hope you're enjoying the stream and my meandering as I play Marvin's Adventures. And if you're in chat, thank you for being there. But then, you know, kind of like unrelated, you know, I also mentioned like this aunt and uncle in my my Fallout Early Memories video. And that same aunt and uncle like collected Lego. And they did not build them. They would just buy these like sets, and that's it. They would just, I remember going into their basement and just finding like tons and tons of sets of Lego after I knew like what Lego was and all that. And I was just like, whoa, like, I don't think they necessarily wanted to keep them closed. I just think that, like, kind of like a comic book collector like myself who, you know, buys a bunch of books and never reads them. I think that was the equivalent. You know what I mean? People who did intend to build them but just didn't have the time. You know what I mean? But it was super cool to me. I was very impressed. I feel like I'm not using enough heroic abilities as Kate. Do we want this gear? I don't really care about this gear. Let's just keep moving. Kick your legs. All right. Oof. Haven't used her explosive arrows in a while. I haven't played as Kate in a really long time, you know? I'm curious who I'm going to choose at the end of the stream to play as tomorrow. But yeah, so that was like another exposure to Lego that I had. And it was just a basement full of Lego toys, you know what I mean? And unopened ones. And I was just like, wow, that's so interesting. Then I had a friend who I would visit his house a lot, and he had, like, you know, I didn't really have like console video games. I had portable stuff. I had like a Game Boy, and my dad had like a DOS computer. So I played like, you know, I played Mario on my Game Boy and Pokemon on my Game Boy. And my dad had, you know, games like Wolfenstein and Jill of the Jungle, I believe it was called. Games that I also played. But this friend had like they had a GameCube, you know, and they had like a modern video game console set up. They got like all the new stuff, and I would come visit his house, and I was just like amazed. You know, that was like a time period, and you know, this happened with a bunch of other friends where like the idea of me getting one of those consoles was never like obtainable to me. You know what I mean? There was never like a memory that I had of me being like, oh shucks, I wish I could have that. It was just like I was conditioned to believe that like this was something that I could only experience at a friend's house. You know, like they were the only ones who had access to this dimension of video games. Because I remember I visited like a cousin's house, and that was where I played Ocarina of Time for the first time, and I thought it was amazing. I was like, whoa, you know, these graphics are insane. But never once did I think, why don't I have this? You know what I mean? Maybe I was appreciative of what I had, or maybe I just, you know, wasn't smart enough to be like, wait, why don't I have this? I don't know. But I you know, I never questioned it. I was just happy that I could go over to a friend's house. Oh, there was also the PlayStation 1. I had a friend who, I think there was a Jurassic Park game that I would play at his house. Oh, and GoldenEye on N64. All games that like I would play at friends' houses and just be like so impressed by. You know what I mean? And so I'm at this other friend's house. You know, this friend with the GameCube. That was like the first time I found out what a GameCube was. I'd come over all the time. They lived close by. And he didn't really care, right? Like he had a GameCube. He was like, whatever. And I'm like, can we play that? Can we play that game? And that game changed. Like I didn't know what a GameCube was. I didn't know that that's what we were playing on. I was just like, there were two games that I really wanted to play, and that was Animal Crossing on the GameCube and Lego Star Wars. And I was like, can we play like the Lego game or can we play the animal game? And you know, he didn't really care. He was like, yeah, whatever. I don't even really want to play that because, you know, he had that stuff all the time. And so it wasn't really that special. But to me, it was like, wow, like, why wouldn't you be playing this all the time? And so sometimes he would just chill. Like, he would just be like, I'm just going to hang out or like take a nap. You can play like Lego Star Wars. And that's what I would do. And literally, I would just play Lego Star Wars all the time. And the thing that was the most interesting to me about Lego Star Wars was the amount of playable characters, which is interesting considering like the modern conversation about Lego Star Wars and Avengers. But the amount of playable characters to me was like, you know, that was like the most powerful a game could be, is if they could put that many characters in the game. I was like, man, that's absolutely insane. Like they really figured it out, you know? And I just loved, you know, I was a Star Wars fan. I liked the prequels when I was younger. I mean, I like them now, but for very different reasons. Not really, honestly. Who cares? And I just loved the idea that I could change all my characters. I really love that. And that was something that would persist, like, with other fighting games. Like, the larger the roster, the more into it I was. You know what I mean? There was something, like, about that where I just loved that you could play as, like, 24 characters. You know what I mean? And that was it. That was how I was first introduced to Lego Star Wars. And then after that, you know, I eventually, you know, earned money, like, by doing chores or by doing, like, little jobs for people. And I was able to buy video games on my own. At that point, I had a Nintendo DS, and I found out that, you know, Lego Star Wars was available on the DS. And, you know, one of the big things, I love pixel art now, and I loved pixel art back then, but one of the big things that really impressed me about the DS was games that had, like, you know, 3D models in it. And so that was one of, you know, the big thing that impressed me about Metroid Prime Hunters, which was like a demo that you got with your Nintendo DS at the time, was that it had 3D models, but the big thing that impressed me about it was the multiplayer. And I thought that was super revolutionary and super fascinating, and I was like, I need to be able to do this. But then, what do you call it? The 3D models was really the thing that sealed the deal as like, wow, this is a really special game. And so when I found out that a game like Lego Star Wars was on the Nintendo DS, I was like, it can handle that, you know what I mean? And it's funny because a lot of people, you know, would hear that and be like, it's not, like, Lego Star Wars doesn't look that good. And maybe not, but, like, to me, it was so impressive. And so I think I got Lego Star Wars 2 first. And, you know, I was a fan of the original trilogy. I had watched it before the prequels came out when I was a kid. Or before, yeah, but before the prequels came out when I was a kid. And so I was very familiar with that franchise. And again, I didn't really question things too much. I was like, whatever. If I have Lego Star Wars 2, I have Lego Star Wars 2. And I think it came with, you played the original trilogy first, and then you played the sequel trilogy, if I remember correctly. And that's how I played it on my DS. And that was a game that I absolutely loved. Like, I absolutely loved playing it. Again, the roster was really great. I liked the, you know, the little changes between each character. And I liked how they mimicked the movies. I loved the idea of playing the movies. You know what I mean? We're not going to do a Mega Hive. Maybe we could do a Elite Hive. Hive. That's what I sound like. Excuse me. Let's do a Hive. Let the game begin. Thank you again, by the way, for joining me today. Sorry I'm gone this week. I hope you've been enjoying these like pre-recorded streams. Sorry I can't be more communicative with the chat, if there even is one. But I'm enjoying recording these, you know, incrementally. They're really gonna help when I'm on my vacation and I feel like I'm being lazy. They're really gonna help me feel like you know, calm and like, okay, I have it covered. You know, technically I streamed today. The you know, the clone scraps streamed on YouTube today. But that was really like the end of my like relationship with Lego Star Wars. Like I would play it occasionally with other people, but honestly, I didn't really play it that much with others, you know. And that's kind of why I'm excited for like the Skywalker Saga to come out. I know that's been like a game that's been pushed back like 100 times at this point. Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, which comes with, you know, all 9 movies. Which, by the way, I believe they made a Lego Star Wars for The Force Awakens, not The Last Jedi, or The Rise of Skywalker. But now they're going to do like you know, the Skywalker Saga and kind of put them all together, and I think that's really interesting. But I'm you know, I'm kind of excited about that game because I want it to you know, kind of capture that magic that I had when I was first playing the Lego Star Wars games. You know what I mean? Because it was a pretty cool magic. It was no, okay. It was you know, a game that I really enjoyed, and I say it all the time. Like, I had a really, like, big imagination when I was a kid. I mean, I still have, like, not to pat myself on the back, but, like, I think I have a pretty overactive imagination, you know, for as silly as I am. Oh, wait, you know what? Let's bomb. There you go. And then let's do one of these. There we go. There we go. But yeah, so I never really interacted with them again. You know, the Skywalker Saga, and again, I have played them, like, here and there, but, like, really, since I was a kid, I haven't, and so that's kind of what I'm looking to the Skywalker Saga for. But then, I think the next time I interacted with a Lego game, I want to say was the Wii U. And I don't know if I've mentioned this much in other, like, streams or videos, but I absolutely adored the Wii U. Both, like, then and now. You know what I mean? Like, I was really into it at the time. I thought it was an amazing console. I really liked what it brought to the table. I think it's a very poorly marketed console now. And then I think I felt the same way. But my big quote about the Wii U is, like, the library speaks for itself. It has such an amazing library that the majority of the games that were on the Wii U were moved to Switch because they were, you know, such great games that you know, I mean, I guess I'm just speculating there, you know. It's probably a mix between their high-quality games that they know that people will buy, and that, you know, because the Wii U didn't sell super well, certain people missed out on that opportunity, you know? Sorry for drinking soda. But I loved my Wii U. I was obsessed with it. I would log into it every day. I would use it all the time. And I just thought it was a really fantastic system with really, really awesome games. And one of the first games I had picked up for the Wii U, not one of the first games, but like early on in my Wii U's life cycle, probably the first year of it, I think they released the first like Lego Marvel Superheroes, I believe. Not the Avengers one. It was the first Lego Marvel Superheroes. And I was like, oh, man. You know, at that time, I was already a big, like, Marvel Comics fan. Like, you know, I've had kind of a wild history. That's another, like, early memories series I would like to do. I've had a wild history with comics. Comics have been a part of my life my whole life. But it took me a while to actually, like, read from month to month and like, week to week. You know what I mean? Why am I using these? There you go. And at that point, I was always trying to learn more about the Marvel universe, and I was all Marvel. You know, I pushed all in on Marvel, and I was like, oh goodness, like this is, you know, this is just, they made a game that's, you know, what I loved about Lego Star Wars just with Marvel characters. This should be perfect for me. You know, and I could play as all these characters and play as all of them, you know, even if they're just Marvel characters, like, I mean, even if they're just Lego versions of the characters, like, this could be it. And it totally helped that, you know, speaking of what started this whole, like, video and what inspired me to do this is, you know, there were a lot of characters that I was familiar with from the comics and hadn't seen in any other media. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. That's something that I particularly love, is when they, you know, instead of kind of going for the characters that everybody knows already, they do some characters that aren't necessarily super famous. Kind of like Kate Bishop in this game. You know, Kate Bishop has a lot of fans, especially you know, primarily in the comics. But still, she's, you know, somewhat of a, you know, before her release in the MCU, she's somewhat of an unknown. And so I felt like it was, you know, really cool that same thing with Kamala. I felt like it was very cool that the game that Avengers, Marvel's Avengers, decided to you know, go with the core, you know, Avengers from the films, right? Like from the first 2012 film, but then kind of veer off and do their own thing and you know, adapt characters who very rarely saw the spotlight. And I love that, you know? And so Lego, I feel like the Lego Marvel superhero games kind of offered the same thing for me. And so I got it. I think I got it, and I played it, and I was enjoying it. And then I kind of stopped enjoying it. And I kind of don't want this video to be a review of that game necessarily, because I feel like I gotta replay it. You know what I mean? But there was something about the, you know, the game that felt very generic. Like it didn't feel super unique. And a lot of the puzzles and the gameplay felt very repetitive in a way that I didn't really enjoy. And yes, they had a lot of characters, but I felt like I was doing a lot of the same stuff. And so I tried to hold out. I tried to play it for a little bit longer, but eventually I kind of just stopped playing. And I was like, I'm not really enjoying it. And as usual, you know, this is not a quality judgment on the game itself. You know, I know there are plenty of fans of it, and I agree that I should replay it, you know, to kind of discover my more modern feelings on the game. But that being said, that was like my reason for stopping playing, and I was disappointed in myself, because I would go back and then I would just be like, because I really wanted to keep playing it, but I wasn't really enjoying it. And you know, if I'm not enjoying something, I'll push myself a little bit, but most of the time, let's just skip these homies. Most of the time, I'm gonna play what I enjoy. You know, I don't want to play something that I'm not having a fun time with. And that's kind of where that began and ended. You know, I picked up Lego Marvel Superheroes 2. I picked up Lego Marvel Avengers, or Lego Marvel's Avengers, I think it is. And I've played a little bit of Lego Marvel's Avengers. Haven't played Marvel Superheroes 2. But that's kind of where that story ends. You know what I mean? I think it's really cool that, you know, a game that's kind of featuring these characters in such a limited way, not a bad way, you know, a stylized way, you know, very limited stylized way, in a good way. Again, I'm trying to say, like, that's a positive thing. You know what I mean? Lego has its own art style and its own, you know, way of telling stories. And I think that's awesome that, you know, something that you wouldn't expect would breed Marvel fans did. And I think that's really awesome. And I was surprised to see that, but I wasn't I wasn't upset. I hope that's clear. Like I think that's really cool. However people get into superheroes, I think it's awesome. And I definitely, you know, obviously I admired those games for featuring characters that weren't really in the other versions of those, you know, these Marvel stories. I forgot where the start of my sentence was. But yeah, so I thought it was cool, even though I didn't really enjoy the game. I think a couple months ago, probably close to a year ago at this point, I played Marvel's Avengers, or Lego Marvel's Avengers on stream once. And I played it a little bit, and I had a little bit of fun. But I didn't really play that much. And maybe in the future of the channel, maybe on Twitch, I will... which, by the way, that's when where I normally stream. You know, today we're streaming on or quote-unquote streaming on YouTube. But normally I stream on twitch.tv/carrotscraps, and I try to do an everyday Marvel's Avengers stream. Sorry, every weekday, not every single day. But I wouldn't be against doing a Lego Marvel Superheroes. I mean, you know, it's a game that I feel like I'm not really going to do on my own necessarily. And to be with other people completing it, I think would really, you know, enhance the experience to have like kind of like the chat with me, helping me on and egging me on. I think that would be really nifty. But that's kind of it when it comes to those style of games. But, you know, I had said for such a long time, so here's kind of the thing, and, you know, I don't want to get too detailed in case I ever decide to do a video on this, although I think I did mention this in my Lego Island review. I think that the Lego Star Wars formula of Lego game works really well, and I think it's a really great template, you know, for Marvel, I mean, for Lego to kind of make a Jurassic Park and an Indiana Jones and a Marvel game. I think they do a great job at using that formula, or I think they did a good job at creating that formula. You know, I think it's a great formula for these games to have. That being said, I think they could use it a little bit better. You know what I mean? I feel like they could do a little bit more. Sometimes they feel a little samey to me, and so as a result, they feel very repetitive. I don't think the characters necessarily, you know, it's definitely quantity over quality. Not that they're not quality, but, you know, they want as many characters as you can get, as many minifigures as you can get, and I think that's part of the charm, you know? So I don't think the characters need to be, like, super different or unique from one another. I think the game itself, like the level design, the puzzle design, that stuff needs to be just fleshed out just a little bit more, you know what I mean? But after that, you know, surprise, there's another Lego game, and maybe this is another one that I would like to talk about in the future. I want to talk about everything in the future, so, you know, who cares if I talk about it now? Lego City Undercover is a game that is very similar to, you know, okay, so first of all, it's based on an existing Lego toy line, which is very similar to Lego Island, kind of where we started with all this. Lego Island was also somewhat in that realm, you know, of like kind of based on a toy line or trying to sell a toy line. Specific one, you know, the Lego Island sets or the Lego City sets. And so the idea is to coincide them together from what I can understand and, you know, kind of sell them. If you get somebody into the game, maybe they'll buy some of the sets. That's kind of the way I see it. Maybe that's not the case, but that's the way I see it. But I looked at Lego City Undercover and I was like, is there a chance that this is meant to be the sequel to Lego Island? And I was, you know, mostly that came from just kind of the fact that they were telling their own story instead of kind of trying to mimic and mime someone else's story. You know, basically stuff like that. And you know, the sense of humor, which was just it's present in all the Lego games, but I feel like Lego City Undercover has a way more pronounced and unique sense of humor, unrestricted, that feels like it reminds me a lot of Lego Island, you know what I mean? So that was kind of the main thing of getting that also on Wii U, was, you know, it reminded me of Lego Island, and I was like, I'm going to treat this like the Lego Island sequel. And I absolutely love that game. It's not perfect. It still has a lot that it can learn. It still has a lot that it could do better. But I think it does what I want these other Lego games to do, which is it takes the core of these games that is really good. You know, this recent template that they've been doing for so long now, that it's hard to kind of imagine anything else. And they did something interesting with the level design, you know what I mean? And the mission design, you know, a lot of the stuff is repeated in Lego Island. Lego City Undercover from the other Marvel and Star Wars games. Like, I definitely see it. I see the similar types of puzzles, but it just felt like a very differently constructed game. And Lego City Undercover, I think, is a great Lego game, and I would like to see more Lego games like it. And yeah, I revisit that game every now and again. I picked it up on Switch a while back after, you know, having it on Wii U. And, oh, we're going to skip these. And it's, you know, again, it's not perfect. It still has those little, you know, rough around the edges stuff where I feel like it could be a little bit more defined. I feel like it could do its own thing, like a little bit more. Or it could go a little bit further with the level design, maybe. I don't know. But that being said, I think they did a really great job with that game, and I would love to see, more games like that in the future from LEGO. You know what I mean? Instead of just licensing out, or you know what? It doesn't matter. License out your stuff all you want, or buy the license from Marvel or DC. But I just want to see better like level design. You know what I mean? So that way, like choosing a character is fun in coordination with that. Boom. But then I went as an adult with a friend of mine to their beach house for the summer. We went to a toy store while we were, kind of there and vacationing. And there happened to be Legos for sale. And this person, this friend of mine, had bought many Legos over his lifetime and, had gotten many Legos when he was a kid. So he loved Lego. And I hadn't really thought about buying Lego until that very moment. And they had Lego sets, and they were they were like, "Do you want to get some Lego and build it together?" And I was like, "Huh!" Like it took me off guard. I was like, "Oh yeah, I guess I can do that." I'm over 18. I think I was 18 at the time. I was like, "I'm 18. I could do this. I could just buy some Lego." And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's buy some Lego together." Luckily, they had Marvel Lego there, and I bought an Ultimate Spider-Man, even though, I'm not the biggest fan of the cartoon, Ultimate Spider-Man. I bought, that was the set that was available. I bought the Ultimate Spider-Man helicopter set, Lego set, which came with, I believe it came with Power Man and Mary Jane Watson, and as well as Peter Parker, and then this giant, Spider-Man helicopter. And I thought it was really cool. It was really fun to build. I was really excited about it. I still have it to this day. And it was a pretty positive first experience with Lego, like building Lego. It felt really good to kind of just go out, not expecting anything, and then just suddenly be like, hey, do you want to bring a Lego set home and like put it together? It's kind of something that I want to do with my fiance, which is, just kind of doing projects together. Sounds like fun, and it sounds cute. And Lego could be a really cool way, for us to just chill, is build something together. Oh, I just remembered something that I can talk about after this. But yeah, so it was a mostly positive experience. There was only one problem with buying that helicopter Lego set, and that was that it was missing one piece. And I made sure to check everywhere. I swear to you, although I guess it's possible that I made an error. I swear to you that I did not lose a piece. They forgot to give me a piece. And this is kind of common with Lego stuff. They have a hotline, or I don't know if they have a hotline, but they have like a system in order. So if you're missing an item or a piece, it happens. Stuff falls through between the cracks. But it was just so funny because I enjoyed my overall experience, but of course my first Lego set is missing a vital piece. And yeah, like I said, I still have that helicopter. Mary Jane Watson is piloting it. And yeah, so I would love to do that more often. Last Lego thing I think we're going to talk about. Oh, I guess I could talk about the Lego movie. I like the Lego movie. I don't like it as much as everybody else seems to. Like, I don't think it's one of the best movies ever made or something like that. A lot of people seem to really, really love it. I think it's a great movie. I think it's a fun movie. It was better than I thought it would be. I think it took some risks, which is cool. And I love the animation. Like, the animation is super revolutionary and just such a such a milestone, I think. Like what a great and risky art style they chose, and what a fascinating art style. I kind of want to play the Lego game, like the Lego movie, the game, just to see what it's like. I think I've heard reviews on it years ago, and it sounds funny, but it doesn't sound awful, so I would really like to check it out for myself. Anyway, last year Nintendo revealed that they were doing a Lego and Nintendo crossover. They were doing Nintendo was doing a crossover with Lego, and I was like sold, 100% sold. And the coolest thing about this, and I wrote a whole review on this. I picked up these Lego sets. I've built them on stream before, and I was going to do like a whole review, and it fell to the wayside. It takes a while. I kind of joke about my reviews being better late than never reviews. But it takes me a while, and a lot of stuff gets shelved. There's a lot of videos that like I'll record and edit, and then I just won't put out there to like switch out with something else. And my Cardboard Pip-Boy video was that for a while. I recorded that so long ago and filmed it so long ago, and it took over a year for it to actually come out. And Lego Mario is kind of the same thing, where I filmed a video, I edited a video, I recorded a video, and I just haven't done it. I think it's because the lighting was really bad in the stuff that I recorded, because I recorded like in person, and it kind of just bummed me out so much that I didn't commit. But anyway, the point being, I love the Lego Mario sets. I think they're gorgeous. I think they're really attractive looking. I think they have a really great design. But more than anything else, it's so cool because it feels like Nintendo is true to their philosophies and true to their core and who they are, even when they're doing like a brand deal with somebody else. And, you know, they made a game out of Legos, you know, like they made Legos, they made Lego into a game, essentially. You know, if you're not familiar with the Lego Mario sets, you know, you have the traditional Legos that you kind of build the set with, but then you have Lego Mario himself, and he's this tiny little nugget, and you put batteries in him, AAA batteries in him, and he interacts with the environment, you know, whether he's on, you know, certain, you know, red or green tiles. And you can kind of build a level and then upload it online, as long as you put a starting point, which I believe is a pipe, and then an ending point, which is the flag. And all I can say is, like, Nintendo figured it out. Nintendo figured out how to make, you know, Lego a game. And it's just so true to their philosophy, is to put gameplay first and that experience first. Because they could have just put out, you know, just the NES, which, you know, the Lego NES is amazing and astonishing. And if you built that whole thing, congratulations. That's awesome. And that's intended for an adult audience. But I feel like the Lego Mario sets really are intended for younger audience members, or just, you know, people who aren't as into like building such crazy contraptions and crazy sets. And I think it hits a really good niche. And for me especially, I had way more fun playing with Lego Mario than I did even thinking about if I was going to get the Lego NES. Because the Lego NES takes, like, you know, it takes 8 years, 8 to 25 years. But I love that set. I would love to do content about it in the future. I don't know, like beyond a review, I don't know what I would do. So who knows? Maybe I'll never do that. But I really do love that set. But I think that's going to do it for today's stream. That's a short one today. Kind of got my thoughts out there on Lego stuff. I guess that, you know, to put the finale on it, I love Lego. You know what I mean? I love Lego. I think they're really cool. I specifically love Lego video games. There are certain Lego video games that I love more than others, Lego Island and Lego City Undercover. And there are certain games that will forever live in my nostalgia, which is Lego Star Wars. But certain, you know, while the formula of the Lego game is fantastic, that template, I think they could do more fun things with it to prevent the franchise, you know, the Lego franchises from being a little stale, in my opinion. I'm very open to playing the Marvel Lego games. I really want to. Maybe I will play them on stream soon if people seem interested. And yeah, that's about all I'll say about that. So let's start winding down the stream. Again, sorry for the shorter stream. I think tomorrow, by the way, I had fun playing as Kate today. I've been really enjoying playing as the Archers again. I took a big break from Archers. Who are we going to play as tomorrow? Let's do Hulk. Let's play as Hulk tomorrow. What do y'all think? So I will be back on Thursday, the 29th, I believe, right? July 29th. You know, the Clone Scraps will be streaming. Yeah, it's Thursday the 29th. You know, the real Carrot Scraps is off camping, surviving in the wilderness. Hopefully Carrot Scraps has survived the origin, the Carrot Prime as they are known as. You know, he is the origin point for all carrots. And I am simply a clone, or, you know, to use modern, you know, sci-fi lingo, is you know, a variant maybe. Whatever sci-fi thing you think I am, I'm some alternate reflection. But yeah, so I had a lot of fun. If you're new to the channel, you can subscribe here to stay notified of you know, when I post something new, and if you enjoyed the stream, I'd encourage you to do so. But I'm not really on this channel very frequently. I try to do streams here every now and again, but generally speaking, my main content is over on my original YouTube channel, my main YouTube channel, which is just one word, Carrot Scraps. That's all my scripted and edited content, and I post every Monday. I should be posting a video this Monday and then next Monday. So if that sounds interesting to you at all, check that out. And if you enjoyed watching the stream, you can check out my, you know, live streams on twitch.tv/carrotscraps. That's where I stream pretty predominantly for the most part. That's the That's where all my streaming effort goes to. We will be back tomorrow to play as Hulk in Marvel's Avengers. And yeah, so that's gonna do it for today's stream. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you soon.